I saw Spider-Man No Way Home again, and I was hoping that I would like it better the second time, but unfortunately the flaws of the movie just stuck out to me a lot more on the second viewing. This is going to be a quick little spoiler discussion. My biggest problem with this movie was the humor. I laughed 2 or 3 times and everything else just annoyed me. When Andrew Garfield shows up for the first time and the grandma starts screaming and throws a pillow at him, and then she asks him to get the cobweb off the ceiling, and then he and MJ start arguing back and forth about whether he should crawl around on the ceiling. That kind of stuff just really spoiled the cool moment of seeing Andrew Garfield again. Few of the characters in this movie act like normal human beings. They act more like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel sitcom characters. Ned and Flash really bug me, and the teachers bug me, and the blonde girl who does the school news bugs me. Happy Hogan bugged me in this one, and Aunt May also bugged me, which was surprising because I liked them in the other two Spider-Man movies. But yeah, there are very few characters that I like other than Tom Holland, and I thought the dialogue was pretty bad too. Dr. Octopus didn't have any good lines. He just had the generic villain lines like, you think your fancy new suit will save you? Or, I tire of your questions, boy! Or, oh, will these humiliations never cease? Jamie Foxx also had a lot of awkward lines that you could tell were trying to be funny, but the timing was just off and they just fell flat. I was also disappointed in the special effects for the Lizard and the Sandman. You can barely see the Lizard in this movie. They constantly have him hiding in the shadows, or they have him hiding in a truck, and you never get a good look at him, as if they were ashamed of his character design or they just didn't want to spend the money to make him look good. It was the same thing with Sandman. He looked pretty stiff and weird in his sand form walking around in the light, and I was disappointed he spent the whole movie in that form. Thomas Hayden Church must be out of shape these days if they just decided to use only his voice. I also didn't like the plot contrivances. It just so happens that Happy has a magical fabricator device that not only makes mechanical objects but can apparently do gene therapy and create a reverse particle collider. And then when Green Goblin destroys everything, all of the Peter Parkers can just sneak into some college laboratory and create an anti-Green Goblin serum and an anti-lizard gas from whatever they find in the cabinet. Norman Osborn and a team of scientists spent decades and tens of millions of dollars trying to develop performance enhancers for the military, and Tobey Maguire is able to create an anti-serum by mixing some hydrogen peroxide and some sulfuric acid together. The whole time I'm thinking, don't you need like a centrifuge or maybe a gene sequencing machine and maybe run it through some clinical trials first? Now, what did I like about this movie? One of my favorite moments was seeing Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. When I was in the theater, I burst out in laughter when he showed up on screen because I tend to laugh when I see something really cool, and everyone else in the theater was silent, so that was awkward. My favorite moment by far is when Andrew Garfield saved MJ, and he had that little redemption moment because he wasn't able to save Gwen in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That scene was absolutely brilliant, and I teared up a little bit when I saw that. Andrew Garfield was actually the highlight for me, which is surprising because I couldn't care less about him being in this movie when I heard the rumor that he and Tobey Maguire would be coming back. But I could tell he was just really happy to be there, and he was really funny and emotional, and he just nailed the role. It was cool seeing Tobey again, but for some reason it didn't have the emotional impact I was expecting. Not all of the humor was completely bad. There were two scenes that I thought were really funny. There was the one scene where someone throws green paint on Spider-Man and yells, "Murderer!" And it was also funny when Electro told Andrew Garfield, "You're from Queens, you wear that cool suit, you help poor people. I always assumed you would be black." And then Andrew Garfield says something like, "Oh, yeah, sorry about that." That was pretty funny. The action was alright, but it was a little too PG for me. When Tom Holland is fighting Green Goblin, there doesn't seem to be any sense that people are getting hurt. Willem Dafoe gets his face smashed over and over again, and he doesn't get a scratch, and I couldn't help but think back to the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, in the final fight with Green Goblin, and just how brutal and awesome that fight was. It's more effective to see Tobey Maguire spit blood out in slow motion after getting punched by Green Goblin than it is to see Tom Holland get thrown through a few stucco walls and ceilings. Also, can someone explain the "Let's Scooby-Doo this crap" line to me? I really don't understand that reference. So those are my thoughts on my second viewing of Spider-Man No Way Home. Tell me why I'm a sad old man who can't enjoy a movie in the comments below, and I will see you next time.